Hello and welcome to Empower Connect Conversation. I'm your host, Carolyn McLean. In this episode, we're going to talk about the law of environment, and I am thrilled to have back with us today Coach Geneane White. As you remember from previous episodes, Geneane gave us some nuggets and then she gave us some pearls. Uh, but a little bit about Geneane is she's a certified John Maxwell personal growth and life coach, MLCT speaker and coach, disc consultant, motivational speaker, and accomplished author. She also has over 38 years of experience in teaching medical information, and is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporation. So Geneane brings a wealth of knowledge and inspiration to our discussion. So Coach Geneane, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you, Coach Carolyn. It's my pleasure to be here once again. I always enjoy meeting with you to have a great conversation. And we're going to talk about John Maxwell's 15 invaluable laws, the law of the environment. All of this pertains to growth. And yes, as you alluded to, I hope everyone goes back and reviews the previous podcast because they all kind of relate together. And so this is part of a series that I'm trying to put together, developing your crown. And this particular segment is the law of the environment. And I just want you to know that growth thrives in a conducive surrounding. Excuse me. That means that all things should be right for you to grow. If not, you're kind of stymied, you're stuck. And so Mark Caine says the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment you first find yourself in. So don't be a captive of that environment and have your environment bog you down and hold you back. And you know, I love quotes. And another quote is from Oprah Winfrey, which she says, step out of the history that is holding you back. Step into the new story you are willing to create. And yes, you've got to get out of that history that's holding you back, make something new for yourself, and move on. And so, you like that?
I like that quote.
The environment we are in has a profound impact on our personal growth. And it is not a coincidental occurrence that it does. So both the location and the people we surround ourselves with shape our attitude towards growth. And so to ensure we continue to develop, continue to grow, we must be in an environment that fosters growth and change. And you know, at various stages of life, we need different environments to support our progress. And it is our responsibility, it's each one of our responsibilities to put ourselves in situations that allow us to thrive. By examining our past, we can see how our environment has influenced our growth and development. So when I speak of the environment, I am defining the environment to be, and you probably have guessed this, the situation that you're in, your environment, and the people. All these three items here work as part of your environment. Now, this is important not only for you, but for others as well. So when people are looking at this and they read this, but it's kind of like news that you want to carry forth to other folks, especially our youth. You know, I talk a lot about our youth because they're developing their crown right now. And so we need to help them do that. And so at some point during every person's lifetime, there comes a need to change environments in order for you to grow. You can't remain in a particular situation, especially if it is not conducive, like I mentioned earlier, to growth or worth your growth.
Oh, that is good. Thank you. Can you give us some examples?
Well, one example that I have that comes to mind is that when you are in high school our environment that we were in 50% of the time as a youth, as the high school age was high school. That was our environment. The people we were around were our high school peers and our high school teachers. Once we graduated, we moved out of that high school environment. And many of our peers are no, um, many of our peers are the same way. They move, they're adults as well. But if you stay stuck in that high school frame of mind, that will be a problem for you. You won't grow. You
Mhm.
won't grow and you will actually slow down your progress. So you have to move with your cycle. So you move from high school, you graduate, you're a young adult, you should develop and think like a young adult and pick up those things. So this is so important for our young adults. It is so easy to remain in that environment of high school, although you have moved on to a young uh, adult mindset or environment.
Oh, wow. So, what can you say about this?
Well, one is that you have to be mindful.
Yes. So, okay, mindful. Can you elaborate on that a little bit
Okay,
more?
sure. That means you have to be conscious of your surroundings, your situation, and the individuals who come into your life, as well as those who lives you touch. So don't be afraid to break free from that comfort zone and embrace change for personal growth. This change of environment may seem kind of obvious in the case of someone who has experienced domestic abuse and finds herself in a horrible environment. Also, on the other hand, it can be the person who is not experiencing a lot of abuse, but the environment is just not conducive to growth. Maybe you are in that small town environment with a small town mentality with little or no growth potential there. And so, if you know that you want to do something beyond that, you have to remove yourself from that. And so at this point, I would like for, you know, people to kind of identify the amount of people you spend the majority of your time with and kind of jot that down as just an exercise and look at the folks that you spend your time with, the actual names of the people for yourself. You don't have to share that with anyone, just for yourself. And it really, when you see that you are around the same people pretty much all the time, then that kind of tells you to focus on that and see what those folks are putting into your life, how you're moving towards some of the things that they do, or how you are actually encouraged or impacted by what they do. So it's very important who we spend our time with, not only from our point of view, but from their point of view as well.
Okay.
And I just want to mention that in the
Mhm.
15 invaluable laws of growth, there is mention of 6 choices. And we have choices. Sometimes people just don't exercise them, but there are 6 choices that you can make to put yourself in a better place for growth.
Oh, wow. Can you give us some examples of these six choices? Because I'm anxious to know.
Yeah, I was anxious when I read through this. I was like, oh wow, these are good. Um, First, you need to assess your current environment. Sit back and take a bird's eye view of your environment. Many times we know if our environment is in need of a reset or change, we are just afraid to make that change. So you have to be aware of the environment you're in. Sometimes we just kind of go through life just taking it for granted, the environment that we are in. And the another one is, can you change? Oh,
That's okay, because I had a question on that.
okay.
You know, you say, change yourself, change your environment. So can you really change one without the other?
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Got kind of jumbled in my thoughts. Here's the thing.
That's
If you
okay.
change yourself, but not your environment, chances are growth will be slow and difficult. If you change your environment, um, but not yourself, or vice versa, growth will be slow and less difficult.
Mm-hmm.
If you change your environment and yourself, growth will be faster and more successful. So, in other words, if you change both of them, you're going to go somewhere, and you're going to go somewhere faster. But if you change one without the other, then it's going to slow your pace down. So to
Okay.
be successful, you really need to change both. And some may say, well, I may not need to change both. Okay. If you don't need to change both, then that means if it's the environment's okay, then you're ready. And but they both have to be on the same level.
Okay.
And when you put both together at the same time, like I said, you increase your movement and accelerate that chance for success, your chance for growth.
Okay.
You have,
And
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
that's
but
okay.
I can
I'm just
see
getting
how
real
it's
excited
important.
here
I know.
talking about this.
I can see how you would need to do both,
Mm-hmm.
where you would need to change. Uh, and I understand about the mindset and everything. Uh, but I know that it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So if if you can just continue on, you said change who you spend your time with.
Yes,
That is very important.
that's very important. That's another one of the points there, to change who you spend your time with. And this is like when a good relation starts out good, but then it goes bad. I mean, it may be time to step on, move on. I mean, sometimes it's repairable and sometimes
Hmm.
not, but that's up to you. You need to know and realize when that relationship goes bad. And I don't necessarily mean it can be any type of relationship, it can be a work
Right,
relationship, but you
right.
have to recognize that. And according to research by a social psychologist, Dr. David McClellan of Harvard, the people with whom you habitually associate are called your reference group. So the people that you most regularly meet with, that's called your reference group. And these people determine as much as 95, now this is interesting to me, they determine as much as 95% of your success and failure in life. Because
Wow.
if you're around people, even with the people at work, you listen to what they're saying, your friends, you listen to what they're saying, and either it's going to make you or break you, because you just sometimes automatically absorb those vibes. So you have to
Yes,
really be careful about it. No pun, nothing on that person or those,
yes.
but you have to really recognize that and be aware of that.
Hmm.
Another one is that you have to challenge yourself in a new environment. A new environment will give you a chance to succeed, a chance to fly, a chance to be you, a chance to bring on or create growth opportunities. So sometimes you just have to really challenge yourself and just, go out into that new environment. It's kind of like changing jobs. I've been on my job for over 30 something years. And
Hmm.
I think to myself, well, I should have left a long time ago, maybe, to challenge myself to move on
Yeah.
to an environment and see what's out there. But the good thing about this, the job that I have, we've changed companies about 4 times. So we really have changed the culture. And surprisingly, a lot of the people have changed with it. But you always have to try to go into a new environment, no matter on what it is, work, play, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And also need to focus on the moment. Don't live in the past. This is one area that we are all, I think, uh, susceptible to do, is to kind of go back to the past. So don't live in the past. It is behind you now. Move on. If you're going to the past, use it to assess the things
Mhm.
and see what it is that you need to do to move on. But don't go back there to stay. It's over. It is.
And that's a good point right there that you just said. And why do you think, why is that? Why do you think that?
Well, that because what sometimes people go back to the past. Life goes on. You've moved. You should be growing. You don't want to
Hmm.
back, times have changed. Just think about where we are now today. And I think if I go back in the past, I'm going to go back into the past without email. I'm going to go back into the past without cell phones. I'm going to go back into the past with all the technologies. So things are different. The environment is different, and my way of thinking is different. And this is for another segment, but there's a thing out there that says that at certain points in your life, you are one way. When you're in high school, you are one
Right.
way. When you move on to being an adult and you're in your 30s, you're moving on
Yes.
to a different focus. When you get to be 40, you should be developing something by that time. So
Right.
it changes. You can't be 50 and go back to 20. It just won't work. Your
I
mind,
want to go back to 50. I want to go back to 20.
you might want to physically look like you're 20, but you mentally, it's not gonna work because
Right.
you've grown. Hopefully, if you're 50 and you're still stuck in your 20s, then you need a reset. You need a quick reset because
Yes.
it's just not going. You're not growing. You're not being
Right.
successful.
That is so true. Um, yeah, is there anything else you want to add before we kind of move into my other question?
Well, I just want to say it's to focus on the moment because what we do now controls who we will become in the future. Each
Okay.
day is your future. And so focus on your moment because whatever you do in the moment is going to help set the plan for your future. Because, after tonight, we're moving on to tomorrow. And
And
so
the past is
what
gone.
I'm saying to the audience tonight, listen to it, apply it for tomorrow.
Right.
Just keep moving on and keep growing. I know it gets a little hard, but it is necessary to do that for growth.
And that's good. You really have touched a lot. And we always got to get some nuggets or pearls from Geneane. So
Yep.
is there anything we can do, any exercises that can help us determine if we do need to make a change?
Yes. And I just want to say one other thing before we do that is that growth always comes from taking action. And taking action almost always is going to bring some kind of criticism. So just have on your um, armor. Most move forward anyway to reach their potential, but you must do not only what others believe you cannot do, but what even you believe you cannot do. So if you think you cannot do it, you still need to do it. I told a group we had a meeting presentation at work for Women's Equality Day. And we were
Mhm.
talking about classes and growing with classes. And I said, the company provides a lot of classes. Take them, take advantage of them. Even if it's something that you think you don't like, take it.
Take it.
Take it. Especially, they're not charging you. If you
Right.
stop, you can stop. But at least you know something about it. But challenge yourself to do that. It's just important to kind of get out of your comfort zone. So
Yes.
most people underestimate themselves. They shoot for what they know they can reach. Instead, they should shoot for and reach for what's beyond their grasp. And that's how you grow. But
Yes.
yes, so there is an exercise. And let's talk about this exercise that John Maxwell has, which I think is a good one.
Hmm.
So, in the law of the environment, there is an exercise that I would encourage people to take. It says to assess your current environment when it comes to growth by answering true or false to each one of these statements. So I'm going to go a little slow. So people that are listening to this, if they want to write it down, they can.
Yes.
So you're going to answer true or false. The first one is others are ahead of me. Others are ahead of me. The second one is I am continually challenged. I am constantly being challenged. The third one, my focus is forward. My focus is forward. So that's that thing where, we have a tendency to fall back into the past, but your focus needs to be forward. The fourth one, the atmosphere that you're in is affirming. The atmosphere that you're in is affirming. And I believe this is number 5 that we are on. I am often out of my comfort zone. Being out of your comfort zone can be good because you can look for opportunities. It's like those classes that you think you wouldn't like. They're
Right.
free at work, take them anyway. Number 6, I wake up excited. Now, I don't know about that. I don't necessarily wake up excited. I wake up still sleepy. I want to go back to bed, but I wake up excited. The 7th one is failure is not my enemy. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is a helpful tool because failure, you learn from the things that you feel you fail from and you move on. There are lessons. And that is the best thing about failure. Falling forward is what you need to think. I may have failed, but I'm learning from these things that I have failed on. They're really not failures. They're
Right.
just lessons learned. The 8th one is others are growing. Sometimes we feel like others are growing and I'm just kind of stuck at where I am. 9 is people desire change. True or false? People desire change. Some people really don't desire change because they're so comfortable where they are. They want to stay on their job all their life. Okay, I know I've stayed on my job a long time, but they like that because they're comfortable with it. People desire change. And the 10th one, which is the last one, is growth is modeled and expected. Growth is modeled and expected. Yes, you should expect growth. Because if you're thinking I'm not going to grow, then you will not grow. You need to think I'm moving ahead. And it doesn't have to be big strides. It doesn't mean that you have to go from this particular analyst position to the CEO of the company. No. That doesn't mean that. It means that you need to get those skills and grow, maybe move around, do some things you like to do. That's what that means. Growth is expected. So this is the clincher. If you've answered false to more than 5 of the statements, your current environment may be hampering your growth, and you will need to determine whether you need to change or improve your environment to reach your potential.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah, make yourself a checklist, go through those 10 items and answer true or false. If 5 of the statements, if more than 5 of the statements are false, then your current environment may be slowing your progress down.
Okay. So yes, these are good. So listeners, these are a good test to find out if you're growing. And we should be in a stage of where we're growing every day.
Right.
We should not be able to stay the same.
Right.
So yes, that was good. Anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, before I say that, just the fact that people are listening to your podcast, they are growing. Now, if they don't take heed to some of the stuff, that's on them. But the fact that they listen to your podcast and they're free, your podcasts are free.
Yes.
Even if they listen to it and they take a few terms from it and go out and research it, they're free. And if you go to a job, you can say, okay, I understand what the law of the environment is. I understand about how I need to grow. I understand how I need to assess myself. All those previous podcasts that we have talked about, they're free. I can't, people that don't join in, but they look at TV and they listen to this and that. Look at something that's going to help you grow. Because one day they're going to change and they're not going to be free.
Exactly.
Can't.
One day. So get all your free nuggets and pearls
Our free nuggets
while
and
you can.
pearls are just going to be at a cost, and yours
Yes,
too. So that's why I tell
yes,
people get it while it is not, because now there are things that we used to get free, and we no longer do it. I mean, some of these some of these cable stations, they're increasing their rate. I mean, you better
yes,
take advantage of stuff while you can. But
exactly.
yeah, but just to kind of give you a summary, what I want to say
Hmm.
is to don't waste your precious time, on people who bring you down. Surround yourself with positive and uplifting individuals who help you grow. Seek out new environments that foster your personal growth and well being. If you feel you are stuck, survey your environment. Take a note on your environment, assess your environment. You may have to change it. If your situation looks bleak, start right now at this moment. Start today to seek how you should change it. You may need to seek help to change your environment. And
Hmm.
lastly, just find the right soil that promotes growth for yourself. Just pretend you are that flower and you want to be in that rich soil and grow. You don't want to just sit there and die and wilt. That is the summary of this all. And I really do hope some people take this to heart, because your environment can really stand you. You can think your environment's okay, but you are in a point where things are a habit to you and you get used
Hmm.
to it. But once you break out and you see how other things are, you think, why in the world was I living like that? Why did I put up with that? It just
Yes,
courage to move on. I would say to women that really don't have a career for themselves, or just try it. And,
yes,
do something, read, take advantage of these podcasts, grow. Just
yes.
because once you get out there, it's going to pop and it's going to be on. You just got to keep rolling with it. But just, personal growth is just like, people always talk about, I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to get a manicure and pedicure, get my hair done and all that. And that's good.
Right.
But you got to take care of your soul. You got to take care of your inside and feel good about what you do. You got to take care of your mind. And
Yes.
that's even more important. Or those pedicures and manicures and getting your hair done are not going to mean a thing in the end, because you're going to wilt like that flower that's in the desert. You're just going to wilt. So you want to be in the rich soil.
Yes.
That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much for that encouragement, Coach G.
Oh, you're
As we
welcome.
close, I want to leave you all with this. Don't be afraid to step out of your environment that no longer serves you. Surround yourself with people and situations that challenge you, inspire you, and help you grow. You deserve to thrive. It starts with the environment you choose to create. But before we close out, Coach G, tell the listeners how they can follow you, how they can get in contact with you, anything you want them, to follow
Yeah,
you.
I'm on Instagram, Compassion at the Well, and hopefully I will have more set up where you can contact me. But Compassion at the Well, they can contact me there on
Oh,
Instagram,
on
or I'm
Instagram.
on Facebook, and of course, you have to do that friend thing. But Instagram, probably, you can just follow me on Instagram.
Okay, y'all heard it. Y'all can follow her on Instagram at Compassion at the Well. Follow her. She posts good messages, inspirational messages, prayers. She's just a gem. So
I
y'all will
thought
want to connect with
you are
her.
too, Coach Carolyn.
So thanks again, Coach Geneane White, for joining us today. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Empower Connect Conversations. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and even share this episode with someone that may need some encouragement. So until next time, keep moving forward and creating an environment that empowers you for your best self. Be blessed. Bye.
Bye.